McBride was an all-star for the 5th time in her career as Boston goes backdoor to Hull. Working on Williams. Hull gets it to go and a foul.
Career high for you tonight. How'd that first half feel, especially with 18 and just 20 minutes of play?
I mean, it obviously feels good, I think, for me, just playing with confidence. We're missing people, so everyone's got to do a little bit extra, be a little bit more aggressive offensively. So that was my mindset going in, and obviously it feels good to see the ball go through the net.
When Lexi Hull stepped onto the court tonight, nobody expected what was about to unfold. In what should have been just another regular season game, Hull delivered the performance of her career while her team crumbled around her in the most devastating way possible. 23 points, 9 of 16 shooting, for threes that barely touched rim. But here's the kicker. She did it all while watching her teammates drop like dominoes in what can only be described as the Indiana Fever's worst nightmare coming to life. Picture this. You're fighting for a playoff spot, desperately clinging to 6th place, and suddenly your roster gets obliterated in real time. We're not talking about 1 injury or even 2. We're talking about 6 rotation players. 6. Completely wiped out, leaving Hull as the last woman standing in a battle she never signed up to fight alone. And fight she did, putting on a show that had fans jumping out of their seats while simultaneously watching their season slip.
Right here in Indianapolis, back in July. Oh, looking inside for Boston. She will launch and knock down a 3. Lexie Hull's hit a pair. End of that game, but foul line continues to flummox Smith here this year. Here's Hull backdoor, puts on the brakes and lay it in. It's a Lexie Hull show here.
Away with every medical timeout. This isn't just a story about one incredible performance. This is about a team pushed beyond its breaking point, a young player rising from the ashes, and the cruel reality of professional sports where dreams can shatter in an instant. What happened tonight will either define Hull's career or become the footnote to a season that could have been so much more. The carnage began before tip-off. Chloe Bivvy, one of Indiana's key forwards, felt something wrong.
I kind of expecting to play darn near the whole game just with the injury situation and the personnel available.
Damn, you played 37 minutes.
I mean, you played a lot too, Kels. What did you play? 35. I mean, yeah, we're down people, so gotta suck it up, play a little tired a few minutes, and take in those timeouts as best we can. But yeah, I mean, we're down people, so everyone's got to do a little more.
Yeah.
For you offensively, was the plan to kind of try and get some looks inside early to get yourself going and then start working from the outside, or was that just kind of how the game set itself up?
Just to read the defense, you know. I think I got some really good passes on the back cuts, and that's a testament to my teammates, you know, finding me, but keeping moving, just reading.
During warm-ups. Just like that, another name added to an injury report that already read like a medical textbook. But the real gut punch came in the 4th quarter when Odyssey Sims, their veteran point guard and steady presence, called for a substitution and never returned. 2 more bodies gone in one night, and suddenly Hull found herself staring at a reality no player should face, carrying an entire franchise on her shoulders. But tonight's disaster didn't happen in a vacuum.
Absence, you'll likely see a lot of Turner on the floor here today as Lexie Hull launches and hits. It's a 3-point parade. Going in. Here is Hull. Look how aggressive Lexie Hull has been here in the first half. That was her 8th shot. Lexie Hull with all the confidence in the world. Petty.
This has been building for months, like watching a slow-motion car crash you can't stop. It started back on July 15th when Caitlin Clark, the face of the franchise and rookie sensation, went down with a groin injury that's kept her sidelined ever since. Clark's absence alone would challenge any team, but the basketball gods weren't finished with Indiana. Sophie Cunningham's torn MCL required surgery, ending her season before it really began. Sydney Coulson suffered the dreaded ACL tear that every athlete fears, shutting down her year in an instant. Ary McDonald's foot problems forced the team to shut her down completely. For major contributors, gone. And just when you thought it couldn't get worse, tonight happened. Bivvy's knee soreness during pre-game warm-ups sent another shockwave through the organization. Coach Stephanie White made the difficult but necessary decision to hold her out as a precaution. But you could see the frustration in her eyes. This team has been walking a tight
Career high for her, just especially effective there early on. What were you seeing from her performance?
She was aggressive. I mean, she was hunting shots. She was aggressive to the rim. You know, she knew we needed
We needed another scorer on the floor, and because of the attention that Kelsey and AB get, she was getting
all season, and they just lost another balancing pole. Then came the moment that might have broken lesser teams. Midway through the fourth quarter, Odyssey Sims suddenly called for a substitution. No dramatic fall, no obvious contact, just a veteran knowing something wasn't right. She walked off that court and never came back, leaving behind questions that won't be answered until tomorrow's medical evaluation. 6 rotation players. 6. In a league where depth is everything and every possession matters, the Indiana Fever found themselves trying to compete with essentially half a team. But sometimes, when everything seems lost, that's when magic happens. Enter Lexie Hull, who transformed from role player to superstar in the span of 48 minutes. Hull didn't just fill the void, she obliterated it. 23 points on 9 of 16 shooting, including 4 bombs from beyond the arc that had the arena erupting every time she let it fly. But the numbers only tell half the story. This wasn't garbage time heroics or empty calories against a blown-out opponent. Hull was going toe-to-toe with a Minnesota Lynx team loaded with veterans and playoff experience, and she never blinked. From the opening tip, she played with a confidence that seemed to surprise even herself. Those early threes barely touched iron on their way down, each one building momentum, not just for Hull, but for a team desperate for any reason to believe. Her 37 minutes on the court told the real story of Indiana's desperation. In a normal rotation, Hull might see 25 minutes tops. Tonight, she was essentially playing Ironman basketball, carrying the offensive load.
When did that injury happen, or do you know the severity at this point?
Felt something during pregame, and so holding her out as a precaution. We don't know anything, so hopefully we'll get some more information tomorrow when she can be seen.
Had she been dealing with any soreness or anything like that in previous days, the week leading up to tonight?
Yeah, I think everybody's dealing with soreness at this point in the year. But yeah, I had been dealing with a little bit of knee soreness, and again, just want to make sure that we're cautious and figure out what's going on before she.
Trying not to collapse from exhaustion, and she thrived under that pressure in ways that should have been impossible. What made Hull's performance so special wasn't just the scoring; it was how she got those points. She wasn't settling for one-dimensional basketball. Sharp backdoor cuts that caught Minnesota sleeping. Aggressive drives to the rim when defenders pressed up on her shot. Crashing the boards like a forward despite being undersized. This was complete basketball from a player who'd been waiting her entire career for this moment. Coach Stephanie White noticed the transformation immediately, praising Hull postgame for hunting shots for the first time all season. That shift in mindset made all the difference. Hull wasn't waiting for the game to come to her anymore. She was taking it by force. The injury timeline reads like a medical disaster movie. Clark's groin injury on July 15th started the domino effect that's been crushing this team ever since. Cunningham's torn MCL requiring surgery eliminated a key veteran presence. Coulson's season-ending ACL tear removed a crucial rotation piece. McDonald's foot problems shut down another contributor before the season really got going. Then tonight's additions to the casualty list pushed things from bad to catastrophic. Bivvy's pregame knee soreness forced another emergency roster shuffle, and Sims' mysterious fourth quarter exit left the coaching staff scrambling to find bodies just to finish the game. The tactical nightmare this created was immediate and brutal. Hull suddenly became the only healthy wing player on the entire roster, forcing Indiana to cobble together lineups that would make any coach lose sleep. Players were thrust into roles they'd never prepared for, running sets they'd barely practiced, trying to compete against a Minnesota team that had the luxury of playing their preferred rotations. The most telling moment came when Sims called for that substitution in the fourth quarter. With no other veteran point guards available, Shea Petty, signed to a 7-day hardship contract just days earlier, had to step in and run the offense despite having barely practiced with her new teammates. Picture trying to conduct an orchestra when you've never seen the sheet music. That's what Indiana was dealing with in real time. The ripple effects were everywhere. Hull logged those grueling 37 minutes because there simply wasn't anyone else to take her place. Brianna Turner and Michaela Onyenware were thrown into matchups far outside their comfort zones. Simple possessions turned into adventures because the guards on the floor didn't have the familiarity or chemistry to run clean sets. But Hull wasn't carrying this load alone. Kelsey Mitchell, the heart and soul of this franchise, delivered another masterpiece with 27 points and 5 assists while draining 5 of 7 attempts from downtown. Mitchell has been the one constant through all this chaos, the player who refuses to let this team fold no matter how dire things get. Before the game, Hull's teammates honored Mitchell's impact by wearing MVP Kelsey shirts during their arena arrival, a touching show of respect for a player who's been everything to this organization. Mitchell later admitted how much the gesture meant to her, saying her teammates make her feel important and valued. That kind of unity becomes even more precious when everything else is falling apart. Aaliyah Boston provided steady production with 15 points and 6 rebounds, battling through extended minutes without any help in the front court rotation. Her consistency gave Indiana some presence in the paint, though critics noted her defense didn't carry the dominance expected from an all-star caliber player. The surprise of the night came from Petty, who somehow delivered 10 points and hit 3 of 4 attempts from beyond the arc despite being thrown into the fire. Her composure on catch-and-shoot opportunities gave Indiana instant offense, though her inexperience running the point was obvious when it came to directing traffic and managing the game flow. For a brief, shining moment in the first half, everything clicked. Hull was unconscious from deep. Mitchell was creating magic, and the bench was erupting after every basket like they were watching something special unfold. The energy was infectious, the kind that makes you believe in impossible comebacks and storybook endings. But reality has a way of crashing those dreams, and it happened exactly where it always does for Indiana. The third quarter, Minnesota outscored the Fever 32-17 in those crucial 12 minutes, turning a competitive game into a rout and exposing every weakness that the injuries had created. The Lynx didn't need to do anything fancy. They spread the floor, attacked with straight-line drives, and crashed the offensive glass with purpose, while Indiana's depleted roster struggled to match their energy. Defensive rotations came late because players were exhausted. Box-outs disappeared because legs got heavy. Boston found herself stranded under the rim against multiple defenders with no help in sight. Possession after possession, Minnesota got second chances and clean looks that broke Indiana's spirit. The lack of adjustments from the sideline became glaring as the same coverage schemes that worked in the first half got exploited repeatedly after halftime. This collapse exposed a troubling pattern that's haunted Indiana all season long. Time and again, they've built solid first half leads only to watch them evaporate when opponents make adjustments and Indiana fails to counter. It's become almost predictable. Early momentum followed by post-halftime confusion and collapse. Coach Stephanie White found herself answering familiar questions about in-game adjustments and tactical responses. She cited attention to detail and acknowledged the challenge of integrating new point guards who've barely practiced with the team. Those explanations provide context, but they don't ease the frustration of fans watching the same movie play out game after game. The brutal truth is that the clock is ticking on Indiana's season. They're clinging to 6th place in the playoff race, but they're only half a game ahead of 7th and just 1.5 games clear of 9th place. The danger zone where seasons go to die. Every loss like tonight's chips away at their margin for error, and that margin is already razor thin. What makes this situation even more dire is that Indiana had to face Minnesota again just days later. Dropping back-to-back games to the same opponent could effectively end their playoff hopes, turning Hull's career night into nothing more than a beautiful footnote to a season that promised so much more. The questions surrounding this team run deeper than just injuries. Yes, the roster depletion makes everything exponentially harder, but the repeated pattern of strong starts followed by second-half collapses suggests systemic issues that go beyond personnel. Fans see Boston getting double-teamed with no help, closeouts arriving a step late on every possession, and opponents taking control in the third quarter, while adjustments never seem to come from the sideline. Yet, through all the frustration and disappointment, Hull's performance offered something precious: hope. For one night, fans get a glimpse of what this roster could look like when healthy and firing on all cylinders. Hull's emergence as a legitimate scoring threat, combined with Mitchell's consistent excellence and Boston's steady presence, provides a foundation that could be special with the right pieces around it. The question now becomes whether Hull can build on this breakthrough, or if tonight becomes an isolated peak in an otherwise frustrating season. Can she maintain this level of aggression and shot hunting that Coach White praised? Can this depleted roster find ways to compete until reinforcements arrive? What happened tonight encapsulates everything beautiful and heartbreaking about professional sports. Individual excellence shining through team adversity. Dreams and disappointments existing in the same moment. A young player stepping into the spotlight just as her team's season threatens to slip away. Hull's 23 points won't change the final score, but they changed everything about her trajectory and gave Indiana fans something to believe in during their darkest hour. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes that's everything. And sometimes, just sometimes, moments like these become the foundation for something much bigger than anyone dared to imagine.